As-salaam wa-alaikum, brothers and sisters. Welcome to Year 6 of the 17 Verses podcast. I'm your host, Maher Haq. In this podcast, we take a small selection from the Quran every day and recite it to you in plain English, so you can get a small slice of God's Word while you go about your day. By averaging 17 verses per day, we're able to break the Quran down into manageable pieces and finish it in 1 year. If you enjoy the podcast, please help spread the word. Tell your friends and family, subscribe in iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you get your podcasts, and write us a review. Show notes and a text episode can be found at 17verses.com. That's the numbers 17verses.com. Today's selection is from Surah 26, Ash-Shu arã, or The Poets, verses 69 through 104. These verses relate the story of Prophet Abraham and his arguments against idol worship, and the Prophet's prayer for this life and the life of the hereafter. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Narrate to them the story of Abraham, when he asked his father and his people, "What is it that which you worship?" They replied, "We worship idols and sit beside them with all devotion." Abraham asked, "Do they hear you when you call on them? Can they help you or harm you?" They replied, "No, but we found our forefathers doing so." Abraham said, "Have you ever seen with open eyes these which you have been worshipping, you and your forefathers? They are all enemies to me, except the Lord of the worlds, who created me. Then he gave me guidance. He is the one who gives me food and drink, who gives me health when I get sick, who will cause me to die and then bring me back to life, who I hope will forgive me my mistakes on the day of judgment." After this, Abraham prayed, "O my Lord, bestow wisdom upon me and admit me among the righteous. Grant me a reputation of truthfulness on the tongue of later generations. Count me among the inheritors of the paradise of bliss. Forgive my father, for he is from among those who have gone astray. Do not hold me up in shame on the day when everybody will be raised back to life, the day when neither wealth nor sons will avail anyone, and when none shall be saved except him who will come before Allah with a pure heart, when paradise shall be brought in the sight of the righteous, while hell shall be spread open to the straying, and they will be asked, 'Now where are those whom you worshipped besides Allah? Can they help you or even help themselves?' Then they will be toppled into it, both they and those who misled them, together with all the armies of Iblis or Satan, wherein they will argue with one another, saying, 'By Allah, we were indeed in manifest error. When we made you equals with the Lord of the worlds, it was the criminals who led us astray. Now we have no intercessors and no loving friends. If we could but once return to our worldly life, we would be of the true believers.'" Surely in this narration there is a great lesson, but most of these people do not learn a lesson to become believers. The fact is that your Lord is the mighty, as well as the merciful. Ameen. This concludes today's episode of the 17 Verses podcast. I hope that this selection helps increase your understanding of the Holy Quran just a little bit. If you like the podcast, you can subscribe in iTunes or Stitcher and write us a review. Or you can grab the RSS feed and put it into your own podcast app. The show notes, including a text version of this episode, can be found by going to 17verses.com. That's the numbers 17verses.com. Thank you, and be well.